public, but now I'm asking you to be quiet. Okay. And she's currently responsible for the oversight of the design build team, focusing on the development of the technical specifications and the rezoning of the new hospital. Prior to that, she was design and build senior project manager for BC Loeb, BC Children and Women's Acute Care Center, and has been, her experience before healthcare was working for general contracting companies. So, Rhonda, thank you so much for coming to present to us.
Hello. Thank you for inviting me to present today. I have to admit that I practiced without a mic, so I will do my best with one. Again, my name is Rhonda. I'm the Associate Project Director for the St. Paul's Hospital Redevelopment Project. And this presentation, it will highlight the impacts of the arterial options on this new St. Paul's Hospital site. Here you will see the new St. Paul's Hospital site. It is bordered on the north by Prior Street, on the south by National Avenue, on the west by Station Street, and on the east by Killian Park. I'd also like to just draw your attention to the actual size and shape of the site and the property line, because that will help with some material that I'm presenting later on that will help orientate you better. So the Station Street site, here we have the site. I'm getting a little feedback, so this slide shows how the options for the arterial route affect and interact with our site. So as you can see, the Prior Street has minimal to no impacts, but the Melkin Avenue cuts through our site. This is a master plan that we've developed for rezoning. So what that means, it's the layout of the site for rezoning purposes. So I'll draw your attention to the yellow line, which again represents our property line for the site. The City of Vancouver road requirements are shown here, specifically the Melkin Avenue impact. And as you can see, the Prior Street wouldn't have an impact to our site. The Melkin Avenue option divides our site into 4 parcels. So we have a north parcel, which is a residential development that would be for temporary housing for healthcare workers who work on the site. We have a west parcel, which is a commercial and office healthcare innovation park. We have, it would be like a Ronald McDonald style hotel that we would like to offer in this area. The south parcel is still under consideration. And then the big health campus parcel in the middle is the hospital project. The City of the Melkin option, if that's the one that is picked, this is the requirements of the City of Vancouver for rezoning, and this is what our land would look like for development of the new St. Paul's Hospital. Yes? Yes, exactly. So when I say the Melkin option, we are only affected at the very west end of it, and so it's any option that would come down Melkin will affect us. So this is the indicative design. An indicative design is a test fit for costing purposes only in order to get funding from the government. So we have put everything we can into these buildings in the space that we're allowed, and we have created very large, very dense looking buildings. This is the acute care center. This is the outpatient clinics buildings. And this is the clinical support and research buildings. All three groups of buildings create the hospital project. As you can see, as I noted before, there's a small little residential building here. This is the Innovation Park, the hotel, which is like the Ronald McDonald House style. This is the small south parcel, and this would be future expansion for the clinical support and research area. So part of the Prior Street option, it provides more land to optimize the campus design and offer more community services to the patient families and the public. The Melkin option requires more land for roads, which in essence kind of reduces the delivery of healthcare services. On this slide, I wanted to address how Melkin impacts, may challenge some access challenges for us on the site. There's some uncertainty of when the arterial would be built, and with a functioning hospital, we would have to account for it. We'd have to account if the road was not built in time when we open, then we would have to build temporary roads and interim access. So we have an interim access number 1 and an interim access number 2 that we've provided to the City of Vancouver. These would be temporary roads and temporary sidewalks, and it's kind of a Band-Aid kind of fix. If we open and we have our temporary roads in place, at some point we're going to have to deal with major construction of the new arterial road. This provides a few risks because you're providing major construction beside an operating hospital. You need to try and maintain the emergency access, and you're also dealing with a lot of noise, a lot of vibration and disruption. The Prior Street roadway already exists, so it would be easier, and we would be able to fully design and construct the proper access right from the start. Melkin Avenue option kind of gives us a more compact site. So this is a cross section from north to south. As you can see, this is the acute care hospital, this is the outpatient, and this is the clinical support, National Avenue and Melkin Avenue. So what happens when you build really big, dense buildings? You have trouble getting natural light in. And natural light has proven to be supported has proven to support patient healing. So if we were able to reposition the campus farther north, if Melkin option was not, arterial option was not chosen, we could expand the natural light into the hospital. We could increase green areas on the campus, and we could also potentially have better clinical adjacencies, because right now we're stacking our clinical departments on top of each other, whereas if we went more horizontal, we could potentially have some beside each other. The ambulance and the emergency traffic that needs to get into the hospital, it can happen with either arterial option. However, it's not the best practice to take ambulance traffic and have an ambulance and public traffic into off of a major arterial into the ED department. So when you have a major arterial, you have lots to look out for. You have multiple roads, you have bike lanes, and you have more pedestrians often. And it's a better practice where we could design a local access road off of Prior that would allow people to get off the busy arterial, slow down into a quieter street, and minimize distractions and mishaps when they're going to the ED. We have designed a site development that includes rooftop gardens, therapeutic gardens, public plazas, and a wellness walkway that goes around the circumference of the site. A busy road next to these open spaces, green areas, doesn't really provide the atmosphere that you would like when you're strolling around or sitting on a bench or enjoying the outside areas. The Prior Street option provides physical separation from the busy arterial road, and it would allow for more health and wellness with regards to providing areas for rest and relaxation and reflection, and would promote more or less, it would promote health and wellness. My final slide is on post-disaster. So the hospital building is a post-disaster building, which means it's engineered and constructed to stay open and functional in a disaster event. However, this post-disaster planning requires additional items like resilient and redundant access to our site. So what does that mean? It needs roads that are built on good ground. It needs a network of local roads that are accessible and can be navigated during a disaster. And an example would be like the ambulance drivers, when they come to and from the site, they pick the options that they pick the roads that have the most options, that have the most local roads attached to them, so that they can change course if they get into traffic or congestion. An example being is that ambulance drivers don't really like to use viaducts, they don't like to use tunnels, because if they got into those spaces, they can't get out. So the Mountain Avenue options are kind of isolated roads which don't offer the same city grid system that the Prior Street option offers, and therefore Prior Street is a little better option for post-disaster planning. So that is my presentation. Thank you for your time and listening.
All right, so there's some questions about emergency